The dawn of a new alliance. Ufo's gaze drifted across the barren landscape of Zalia 5, where the once thriving settlement lay in ruins. Just a few solar cycles ago, the Kikuvuk had established a vibrant colony here, enjoying the planet's mild climate and rich resources. Yet, in less than 2 days, the Grail had wreaked havoc, razing the settlement to the ground and enslaving or slaughtering the inhabitants. The Grail were notorious for their brutality, their greed driving them to pillage and destroy without remorse. Amidst the wreckage, Ufo, a Kikuvuk scholar, found himself grappling with a deep sense of despair. His people were known for their artistry and peaceful ways, their creations cherished across the galaxy. Their once proud sculptures and intricate carvings now lay in ruin, symbols of a culture torn apart by aggression. Ufo's hope was to rescue some of his kin, but the overwhelming Grill forces made it impossible to navigate through the chaos unnoticed. The Kikuvuk had long been oppressed by the Grill, their pleas for help met with indifference from the Celestial Confederation. The Confederation, despite its lofty ideals, had been ineffective in stopping the Grill's rampage. The other member races, the Ratari, the Jezuk, had their own agendas and seemed apathetic to the suffering of the Kikuvuk. Then came the Terrans, or humans as they were called. The Confederation had recently accepted them as members, and the Terrans' reputation for resilience was becoming evident. Their recent conflict with the Twi'lek had showcased their strength and resourcefulness. What had started as a modest defense against an invading fleet had transformed into a significant turning point in galactic politics. The Terrans' ability to repel the Twi'lek and their subsequent peace treaty, marked by generosity and respect, had not only established their dominance, but also earned them the admiration of many. Now, a Terran fleet had arrived at Zalia 5, and Ufo watched in awe as their ships engaged the Grail forces. The humans, despite their smaller numbers, decisively vanquished a larger Grail fleet. Their tactical prowess was undeniable. Ufo, though relieved, was still troubled by the devastation on the ground. He knew the survivors needed more than just a show of force, they needed hope and protection. The Terran commander, a figure of unwavering determination, led her troops with precision. Ufo saw how the humans, despite their unfamiliarity with Kikuvuk customs, approached the situation with a deep sense of responsibility. They treated the remains of the fallen with reverence, their anger palpable as they discovered the atrocities committed by the Grail. The human soldiers, including the Twi'lek engineers among them, were a mix of emotions, anger, sorrow, and an unyielding drive to make things right. As the humans prepared their defense strategy, Ufo was struck by their methods. The Terran command structure was complex but efficient. The concept of legions and cohorts, each meticulously organized and equipped, was a revelation. Ufo noted the advanced technology and the varied weaponry that the humans used, from railguns and mortars to intricate armor systems. Despite the awe-inspiring military capabilities, it was their ethical stance that left a lasting impression on him. The sight of the human commandant, furious and resolute, as she addressed her troops, made Ufo realize the depth of their commitment. The murder of children, a war crime in Terran eyes, was met with fierce retribution. The commandant's determination to exact justice and her fierce protection of her troops and allies spoke volumes about the Terran values. Ufo observed the strategic deployment of the Terran forces, the meticulous planning, the setting of traps, and the careful concealment of their positions demonstrated a tactical brilliance that was both innovative and effective. The Terrans, despite being heavily outnumbered, used their superior strategy and discipline to their advantage. As Ufo prepared to report back to Elder Altair and the Kikuvuk Grand Council, he knew that this was not just a battle for survival, but a turning point for his people. The Terrans' intervention was more than a military response, it was a chance for a new beginning. Their strength, combined with their moral clarity, offered a glimmer of hope in the face of overwhelming darkness. In the heart of the devastation, as the first signs of recovery began to emerge, Ufo found a renewed sense of purpose. The arrival of the Terrans was not just a military intervention, but a promise of a future where the Kekuvik could rebuild and thrive once more. The story of humanity's resilience and strength had only just begun to unfold, and Ofo was determined to be a part of it. Shadows of war and the glimmer of hope. In the aftermath of the battle, Xalia 5 was a desolate landscape, the echoes of conflict still resonating through the broken remnants of what had once been a thriving Kekuvik settlement. The Terran forces, having secured the immediate area, were now focused on establishing a foothold and preparing for any possible retaliation from the Greel. Their presence was a beacon of hope in a sea of despair, but the scars of war were deep and the path to recovery was fraught with challenges. Ofo, though initially overwhelmed by the scale of the destruction, found solace in the Terran approach to rebuilding. The humans, guided by their formidable commander, were methodical in their efforts. They set up makeshift medical stations to tend to the wounded, both Kekuvik and their own soldiers. The sight of the Terrans working alongside the survivors, treating them with genuine care and respect, was a stark contrast to the brutality of the Greel. It was evident that the humans were not just soldiers, they were healers, protectors, and allies. One particular day, Ofo observed a group of Terran engineers, including several Twi'leks, setting up a perimeter defense around the settlement. The precision with which they worked was remarkable. They constructed barricades, reinforced structures, and installed surveillance equipment with a speed and efficiency that left Ofo in awe. The Twi'leks, despite their recent refugee status, demonstrated a level of expertise that was invaluable to the Terran forces. Their integration into the team was seamless, a testament to the Terrans' belief in merit over prejudice. Among the survivors, Ofo noticed a young Kekuvik named Leora, who had taken it upon herself to help the humans in their efforts. Her knowledge of the local terrain and resources proved to be an asset. Leora guided the Terran troops to hidden water sources and safe locations, her bravery and resourcefulness earning her the respect of the soldiers. The bond between her and the humans grew stronger with each passing day, symbolizing the potential for a new era of cooperation. The human commandant, now more familiar with the Kekuvik ways, approached Ofo with a proposal. She wanted to establish a joint task force to not only defend the settlement, but also to search for any remaining survivors and gather intelligence on the Greel. The idea of a collaborative effort between the Kekuvik and Terrans was met with enthusiasm by Ofo. It was a chance to build bridges and foster understanding between their cultures. As the task force began its operations, the collaboration between the Kekuvik and Terran forces revealed the depth of each species' strengths. The Kekuvik's intricate knowledge of the environment complemented the Terrans' advanced technology and strategic prowess. Together, they uncovered hidden caches of Greel supplies and rescued a small group of survivors who had been hiding in the remnants of an old mining facility. The relief and gratitude of the rescued Kekuvik were palpable. They had endured the horrors of the Greel invasion, and their survival was a testament to their resilience. The Terrans' efforts to provide aid and comfort to these survivors, combined with the Kekuvik's own determination to rebuild, marked the beginning of a new chapter in their shared history. However, the threat of the Greel was far from over. Intelligence gathered by the task force indicated that the Greel were regrouping and planning their next move. The Terran commandant, ever vigilant, called for a strategic meeting with Ofo and other key figures. The discussions were intense, focusing on the best course of action to secure the settlement and prevent further attacks. Ofo was struck by the Terrans' approach to strategy. Their focus was not solely on the immediate threat, but also on long-term solutions. They discussed the importance of fortifying the settlement, establishing early warning systems, and creating a network of alliances with other nearby planets. The Terrans' forward-thinking strategy was both inspiring and reassuring. As the meeting concluded, Ofo found himself reflecting on the profound changes taking place. The Terrans had not only intervened in a moment of crisis, but had also laid the groundwork for a more sustainable and collaborative future. Their actions were reshaping the dynamics of the Celestial Confederation, proving that even in the darkest of times, there was the potential for unity and progress. In the quiet moments that followed, as Ofo looked out over the settlement, he felt a renewed sense of hope. The shadows of war still loomed large, but the glimmer of hope provided by the Terrans was undeniable. The path ahead was uncertain, but with the strength of their new allies and the resilience of his people, Ofo was determined to face the challenges with unwavering resolve. The unseen enemy and the dawn of unity. As the days stretched into weeks, the Kekuvik settlement slowly began to heal from the devastation wrought by the Greel. The Terran forces, alongside the Kekuvik and Twi'lek allies, worked tirelessly to rebuild infrastructure and reinforce defenses. The settlement, though still scarred, showed signs of recovery. Hope flickered in the eyes of the survivors as they saw tangible progress in their new reality. However, beneath the surface of this tentative peace, an unseen threat loomed. The Terrans had established a sophisticated network of sensors and reconnaissance drones to monitor the area for any signs of Greel activity. These measures were not merely precautions. They were vital to ensuring the settlement's safety. The Greel, known for their cunning and ruthless tactics, had been surprisingly elusive, their movements shrouded in secrecy. The humans were on high alert, aware that the enemy's silence could be a prelude to a more insidious attack. One evening, as the twin moons of Xalia 5 bathed the settlement in a soft, eerie light, Ofo was approached by Lieutenant Maris, one of the Terran officers who had taken a keen interest in the Kekuvik's cultural practices. Maris had been working closely with Ofo to understand the nuances of Kekuvik society and its values. Tonight, however, her demeanor was more serious than usual. "Sir," Maris began, her voice low and urgent, "we've picked up some unusual signals from our deep space scanners. It seems the Greel are not only regrouping, but might be preparing something more than just another attack." Ofo's heart sank. The prospect of a new threat was unsettling, especially when the settlement was still in the midst of rebuilding. "What kind of signals are we talking about?" he asked, trying to keep his voice steady. Maris handed him a datapad, which displayed a series of complex patterns and anomalies. "It's hard to say for sure, but it looks like they're deploying some form of cloaked vessels or stealth technology. We've never encountered anything like this before." The implications of this revelation were troubling. If the Greel had developed new technology that allowed them to bypass the Terran's sensors, the safety of the settlement could be compromised. Ofo knew that the only way to counter this threat was to take proactive measures. The following day, a strategy session was convened with key personnel from both the Terran and Kekuvik teams. The atmosphere was charged with tension as they discussed their options. The Terran commandant, Colonel Hayes, was resolute in her determination to protect the settlement. She had already begun devising a plan to enhance their defensive measures and increase their surveillance capabilities. "The Greel are not just an external threat," Colonel Hayes said firmly. "They're also testing our resolve. We need to adapt quickly and use every resource at our disposal to outmaneuver them. Our priority is to gather intelligence on their new technology and prepare for any potential incursions." In addition to their technological upgrades, the Terrans and Kekuvik agreed to initiate joint patrols and establish a rapid response team. This team, composed of the best fighters and strategists from both species, would be tasked with intercepting any Greel forces before they could reach the settlement. Ofo volunteered to lead a reconnaissance mission to gather more information about the Greel's activities. His intimate knowledge of the local terrain would be crucial in navigating the dangers that lay ahead. Accompanied by a squad of Terran soldiers and a few trusted Kekuvik allies, Ofo set out on what would be one of the most perilous missions of his life. As they ventured into the wilderness, the group encountered a variety of challenges. The harsh environment of Xalia 5, with its jagged terrain and treacherous weather patterns, made navigation difficult. Yet, the determination of the combined team, driven by the shared goal of protecting their home, allowed them to push through. During their mission, they stumbled upon a hidden Grail outpost nestled within a series of rocky canyons. The outpost was heavily fortified, and the stealth technology that Maris had mentioned was evident in the cloaked energy shields and concealed weapons systems. Ofo and his team observed from a distance, taking note of the Grail's movements and the layout of their defenses. The discovery of the outpost provided crucial insight into the Grail's capabilities. It became clear that their new technology was designed for precision strikes and ambushes, making them even more dangerous than before. The mission was a success, but it came with its own share of risks. As the team prepared to return to the settlement, they were ambushed by a small contingent of Grail scouts. A fierce skirmish ensued, testing the mettle of both Terran and Chuckle-Late fighters. Despite the odds, the combined forces managed to repel the Grail scouts and make it back to the settlement. The information they brought back was invaluable, allowing the Terrans to refine their defensive strategies and develop countermeasures against the Grail's stealth technology. The unity and resilience demonstrated by the Chuckle-Late and Terrans were becoming a symbol of strength in the face of adversity. The shared experiences and challenges forged a bond that went beyond mere alliance. It was a partnership built on mutual respect and trust. As the settlement prepared for the possibility of an imminent Grail offensive, the spirit of cooperation between the two species remained unshaken. The new challenges only strengthened their resolve to protect their home and ensure a future free from the shadows of war. Ofo, standing amidst the bustling activity of the settlement, felt a profound sense of pride and hope. The dawn of unity had begun, and with it, the promise of a brighter future. The path ahead was still fraught with danger, but the combined strength of the Chuckle-Late and Terrans offered a beacon of hope in the darkness. The alliance forged in fire. In the aftermath of their recent skirmishes and strategic victories, the settlement of Xalia 5 buzzed with a renewed sense of purpose. The joint efforts of the Terrans and Chuckle-Late had not only strengthened their defenses, but also deepened their bond. Yet, the specter of the Grail's advanced tactics and their unseen threats loomed over every decision made by the newly forged alliance. The Grail, though temporarily pushed back, had not been defeated. Their ability to adapt and evolve their technology made them an unpredictable and dangerous adversary. It was clear that the next phase of their assault would require a different approach, one that went beyond traditional tactics and embraced innovative strategies. Colonel Hayes, the stalwart leader of the Terran forces, called for a summit to discuss their next steps. Representatives from the Chuckle-Late, including Ofo, and members of the Twillark, who had recently integrated into Terran society, gathered to exchange ideas. The mood in the meeting room was a mix of urgency and determination, as the gravity of their situation was evident. "We need to think outside the box," Hayes began, her voice commanding yet thoughtful. "The Grail are using tactics we haven't seen before. We need a plan that not only counters their current technology, but also prepares us for whatever they might throw at us next." One of the Twillark engineers, known for their brilliance in designing advanced technology, spoke up. "We've analyzed the data from the Reconnaissance mission, and it seems the Grail are using a form of energy field that disrupts our sensors. If we can develop a countermeasure, we might be able to detect their cloaked vessels before they can get close." The suggestion was met with nods of agreement. The collaborative nature of their discussions was a testament to the strength of their alliance. The Chuckle-Late offered their expertise in camouflage and stealth, while the Terrans provided their technological prowess and military experience. Together, they began formulating a plan to counter the Grail's stealth capabilities. Ofo, meanwhile, was approached by Captain Jax, one of the senior Terran strategists. "Ofo, we need to leverage your knowledge of the Grail's tactics and environment. If we're going to develop a successful countermeasure, your insights could be invaluable." Ofo nodded, aware of the significance of the task at hand. "I'll do my best. The Grail rely heavily on their superior numbers and aggressive tactics. If we can disrupt their coordination, it might give us the edge we need." The alliance set to work on a multifaceted plan. The Kekuvuk began crafting advanced sensors and cloaking technology, using their intricate understanding of materials to develop devices capable of detecting energy signatures that had previously gone unnoticed. The Twilak engineers worked tirelessly on enhancing the Terran technology, incorporating elements from their own designs to create a new generation of sensors and communication systems. As days turned into weeks, the settlement became a hive of activity. Workshops were filled with the hum of machinery and the clatter of tools as the combined forces raced against time. Every member of the Alliance, from the highest-ranking officers to the lowest-ranking soldiers, contributed to the effort. The spirit of cooperation was palpable, as each individual understood the stakes involved. One evening, as the sun set over Zalia 5, casting long shadows across the settlement, a breakthrough occurred. The new sensors developed by the Alliance were successfully tested, and preliminary results showed promise. The sensors could detect anomalies in energy fields that matched the signatures of the Greel's stealth technology. Colonel Hayes called for a briefing to update everyone on the progress. The atmosphere in the briefing room was charged with a mix of excitement and apprehension. "We've made significant strides in developing our countermeasures," Hayes announced. "These new sensors should help us detect the Greel's cloaked vessels and anticipate their movements. However, we need to be ready for a full-scale engagement." The plan was simple yet daring. They would establish a series of sensor outposts around the settlement to create a protective perimeter. These outposts would be manned by a combination of Terran soldiers and Kekuvuk warriors, ensuring that any detected threats could be swiftly addressed. Additionally, a rapid response team would be on standby, ready to intercept any Grell forces before they could reach the settlement. The night before the deployment, Ofo and his team gathered around a fire, sharing stories and forging bonds. The camaraderie was a reflection of the unity that had grown between the Kekuvuk, Terrans, and Twilak. They knew that whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them together. As dawn broke, the settlement was alive with activity. The new sensor outposts were set up and operational, and the rapid response team was deployed to their stations. The Alliance held its breath, waiting for the inevitable test of their preparations. Days passed in tense anticipation. The sensors, now fully integrated and operational, began detecting unusual energy patterns that indicated the presence of cloaked Grail vessels. The rapid response team was mobilized, intercepting the Grail scouts before they could reach the settlement. The coordinated efforts of the Alliance paid off. The Grail, surprised by the effectiveness of the new countermeasures, were forced to retreat. The settlement, though still under threat, was now better equipped to defend itself. Ofo watched as the Terran and Kekuvuk forces worked seamlessly together, their shared purpose and determination a testament to the strength of their alliance. The battle against the Grail was far from over, but the unity forged in the fires of conflict had given them a fighting chance. The dawn of this new era of cooperation and resilience marked a turning point in their struggle. The Alliance, now tempered by the trials of battle and the trials of trust, stood as a beacon of hope against the darkness that sought to engulf them. And as they prepared for the challenges ahead, the bond between them grew stronger, ready to face whatever came next. Shadows of betrayal. As the Alliance's newfound strategies began to show promise, the settlement of Zalia 5 experienced a brief respite. The Grill's attempts to penetrate the defenses had been thwarted, and the newly established sensor network provided a semblance of security. But beneath the surface of this fragile peace, whispers of dissent and betrayal began to stir. Unbeknownst to the Terrans and their allies, a shadowy faction within the settlement was working to undermine their efforts. This faction, a clandestine group of disillusioned Kekuvuk and rogue Twilak operatives, saw the Alliance's success as a threat to their own hidden agendas. They believed that the true power lay not in cooperation, but in seizing control for themselves. Their leader, a Kekuvuk named Vorin, was a master of deception and subterfuge. He harbored deep resentment towards the Terrans and their perceived interference in Kekuvuk affairs. Vorin saw an opportunity in the discord brewing among the ranks and set about exploiting it. The first signs of trouble emerged when supplies intended for the sensor outposts began to go missing. Equipment was tampered with, and critical components were found damaged or missing. Colonel Hayes, noticing the discrepancies, launched an investigation into the mysterious setbacks. The investigation revealed that the sabotage was more than just random acts of vandalism. It was a deliberate effort to weaken the settlement's defenses and create confusion. Hayes and her team traced the sabotage back to a small group within the settlement, leading them to suspect internal treachery. Meanwhile, UFO, who had been working closely with the Terran forces, noticed that some of the Kikuvik troops seemed unusually agitated. They were avoiding eye contact and whispering amongst themselves. UFO's instincts told him something was amiss, and he decided to investigate further. One night, as UFO patrolled the perimeter of the settlement, he noticed a group of Kikuvik moving stealthily towards a secluded area. He followed them discreetly and discovered a hidden meeting place where Vorin and his followers were plotting their next move. The conversation he overheard was chilling. "We've already caused significant disruptions," Vorin was saying, his voice low and menacing. "The Terrans are starting to suspect something. It's time to escalate our efforts. We'll sabotage their communications next and create chaos. Once we've weakened their position, we can strike and seize control." UFO's heart raced. He realized the extent of the threat facing them was not just from the Grail, but from within their ranks. He needed to act quickly to expose the betrayal and prevent further sabotage. He discreetly relayed his findings to Colonel Hayes, who took immediate action. The settlement was put on high alert, and an internal security sweep was conducted. Vorin and his co-conspirators were apprehended before they could execute their plans. The discovery of the hidden faction sent shockwaves through the settlement. The betrayal left a mark on the alliance, creating a rift of mistrust and uncertainty. The Terrans, Kikuvik, and Twi'lek had to come to terms with the fact that not all their allies were as loyal as they had hoped. The internal conflict underscored the challenges of maintaining unity in the face of external threats. Colonel Hayes addressed the settlement, acknowledging the breach of trust but reaffirming their commitment to the alliance. "We have faced many trials together, and today's betrayal is a stark reminder that we must remain vigilant. Our strength lies in our unity, and we must overcome this challenge together." The Kikuvik, shocked by the revelation of Vorin's betrayal, rallied behind Hayes' call for unity. They worked to rebuild trust and strengthen their defenses, determined to prove their loyalty to the alliance. The Twi'lek, too, stood firm, their commitment to the cause unwavering. Despite the betrayal, the alliance continued to fortify their defenses and adapt their strategies. They enhanced their security measures, implemented stricter protocols, and ensured that every member of the settlement was informed and involved in their collective effort. As the days passed, the settlement began to recover from the turmoil. The alliance's defenses were bolstered, and the sabotage attempts were addressed with renewed vigilance. The unity forged in the fires of battle was tested, but it emerged stronger, tempered by the trials of betrayal and the resolve to overcome it. UFO, reflecting on the events, saw the deeper truth behind their struggle. The fight against the Grail was not just a battle of technology and tactics, but a test of their collective spirit and trust. The shadows of betrayal had revealed the fragility of their unity, but it also illuminated the strength that came from facing adversity together. As they prepared for the next phase of their struggle, the alliance stood as a testament to the resilience of those who, despite facing betrayal and discord, chose to stand together in the face of overwhelming odds. The journey ahead would be fraught with challenges, but the bond between the Terrans, Kikuvik, and Twi'lek remained unbroken, their resolve as steadfast as ever. The echoes of war. As the alliance fortified its position and dealt with the aftermath of betrayal, the long-anticipated reinforcements arrived. Fresh troops and advanced technology from the Terran fleet bolstered the settlement's defenses, breathing new life into their operations. However, the arrival of these reinforcements came with both hope and hidden complications. Colonel Hayes, now leading a fortified base of operations, knew that with increased strength came increased responsibility. The arrival of a massive Terran warship, the Vanguard, commanded by Admiral Serin, was a game-changer. The ship was equipped with state-of-the-art weaponry and defensive systems, its presence a clear signal of Terran commitment to the cause. The Admiral, known for his strategic brilliance and no-nonsense attitude, immediately began to assess the situation and make strategic adjustments. Admiral Serin's first action was to review the intelligence reports and the current state of the defenses. He quickly identified areas where improvements were needed and initiated a series of drills and training exercises. His meticulous approach and rigorous standards pushed the Alliance forces to their limits, but the results were evident. Morale was high, and readiness was at its peak. However, amidst the preparations and drills, an ominous sense of foreboding settled over the settlement. The Grill, undeterred by previous setbacks, began to regroup and adapt their strategies. The Alliance's success had forced them to rethink their approach, and they now employed new tactics that combined brute force with psychological warfare. One of the Grill's most insidious strategies was to use holographic decoys to create confusion among the Alliance forces. These decoys simulated attacks from multiple directions, forcing the defenders to spread their resources thin and making it difficult to distinguish between real threats and illusions. The Grill's psychological manipulation took a toll on the troops, causing anxiety and uncertainty. As the Alliance grappled with these new challenges, a mysterious signal was detected from a previously unexplored region of space. The signal was weak, but seemed to contain a distress message. Ofo, still working closely with the Terran forces, volunteered to investigate the source of the signal. His knowledge of the local star systems and his experience with alien technology made him an ideal candidate for the mission. Accompanied by a small team of specialists, Ofo embarked on the journey to track down the signal. The team navigated through asteroid fields and bypassed cosmic anomalies, eventually arriving at a derelict spacecraft drifting in the void. The ship was of an unknown design, with markings that were unfamiliar to Ofo and his team. Upon boarding the spacecraft, they discovered that it was a research vessel belonging to a previously unknown alien race. The ship's logs revealed a harrowing story of exploration gone wrong. A team of scientists had ventured into the fringes of known space and encountered the Grill. The researchers had been captured and subjected to experiments, their vessel abandoned in a desperate attempt to escape. The distress signal had been a final plea for help, sent out in the hope that someone might come to their aid. Ofo and his team retrieved the data and returned to the settlement with the information. The discovery of the alien vessel and its tragic story deepened the Alliance's resolve to put an end to the Grill's reign of terror. Admiral Serin, impressed by the bravery and resourcefulness of Ofo and his team, devised a plan to use the information from the alien vessel to their advantage. The plan involved a coordinated assault on a key Grill facility identified in the data, with the goal of striking a decisive blow against their operations. As the Alliance prepared for the operation, tensions ran high. The Grill's tactics had taken a psychological toll, and the pressure of the upcoming assault weighed heavily on the troops. Colonel Hayes, aware of the strain on her soldiers, organized a series of motivational briefings and team-building exercises to bolster their spirits. The day of the assault arrived, and the Alliance forces moved into position. The operation was a complex maneuver that required precise coordination and timing. The Terran fleet, led by the Vanguard, provided orbital support, while ground forces, including Kakuvik and Twillup troops, prepared to engage the Grail on the surface. The assault began with a barrage of precision strikes from the Vanguard, targeting key defensive structures and command centers. As the Grail scrambled to respond, the ground forces launched their attack. The battle was fierce and chaotic, with the Grill's holographic decoys causing confusion and disarray among the attackers. Despite the Grill's efforts to defend their position, the Alliance's preparation and determination proved to be overwhelming. The coordinated assault, combined with the intelligence from the alien vessel, allowed the Alliance to breach the facility and neutralize the Grail forces. The victory was hard-fought and came at a cost. Many lives were lost, and the toll of the battle was evident in the faces of the survivors. Yet, the success of the operation provided a glimmer of hope. The Grail's facility was destroyed, and their ability to conduct experiments and launch attacks was significantly impaired. In the aftermath of the battle, the Alliance took time to honor the fallen and regroup. The victory was a testament to their resilience and determination, but it also served as a reminder of the cost of war. The echoes of the battle reverberated through the settlement, a somber reminder of the sacrifices made in the fight for survival. Ofo, reflecting on the events, saw a glimmer of hope in the midst of the struggle. The Alliance had faced incredible challenges and emerged victorious, but the journey was far from over. The fight against the Grail continued, and the Alliance's resolve was tested with each passing day. As they prepared for the next phase of their struggle, the Alliance stood united, their spirit unbroken by the trials they have faced. The echoes of war had left their mark, but they also illuminated the strength and determination that lay at the heart of their cause. The dawn of unity. In the aftermath of the decisive battle, the Alliance faced a pivotal moment in their struggle against the Grail. The victory at the Grail facility had dealt a significant blow to their enemies, but the cost had been heavy, and the road ahead remained fraught with uncertainty. The Alliance leaders recognized that the time had come to solidify their unity and prepare for the final stages of the conflict. Colonel Hayes and Admiral Serin convened a high-level strategy meeting with representatives from all allied races. The room was filled with a mix of military leaders, diplomats, and advisors, each bringing their own perspectives to the table. The goal was clear: to devise a comprehensive plan that would bring an end to the Grail's threat and secure lasting peace for the galaxy. The first order of business was to address the growing concern over the Grail's adaptability. Their recent tactics, including the use of holographic decoys and psychological warfare, had proven to be effective and unpredictable. The Alliance needed to anticipate and counter these tactics to avoid further losses. A key breakthrough came when Dr. Leora, a renowned Terran scientist, proposed a new technology that could neutralize the Grail's holographic decoys. Her team had developed a device capable of detecting and disrupting holographic projections, allowing the Alliance forces to distinguish between real and simulated threats. The technology, known as the Phantom Disruptor, was quickly integrated into the Alliance's arsenal. As the Alliance prepared for their next move, the focus shifted to diplomacy and forging stronger bonds between the member races. The Kikuvik, who had been deeply affected by the Grail's attacks, were encouraged to share their experiences and insights with their allies. Ofo, who had become a key liaison between the Kikuvik and the Terrans, played a crucial role in facilitating communication and cooperation. The Alliance leaders understood that unity was not just about military strength, but also about cultural and social cohesion. To foster a sense of solidarity, they'd organized a series of cultural exchange events, where members of different races shared their traditions, art, and history. These events helped build mutual respect and understanding, reinforcing the idea that their strength lay in their diversity and cooperation. One of the most impactful moments came during a ceremony where representatives from each race presented symbols of their culture and heritage. The Chuckle-Late, known for their exquisite metalwork, unveiled a series of intricate sculptures depicting the Alliance's journey and achievements. The Twi'lek, with their scientific prowess, showcased a holographic display of their contributions to the war effort. The Terrans, renowned for their resilience, shared stories of their own struggles and triumphs. The ceremony was a powerful reminder of the shared purpose that bound the Alliance together. It underscored the importance of working towards a common goal and celebrating each race's unique contributions. The sense of unity and camaraderie was palpable, and it energized the Alliance as they prepared for the final phase of their campaign against the Grail. The next phase of the plan involved launching a major offensive to strike at the heart of the Grail's stronghold. The Alliance aimed to capture or neutralize the Grail's leadership, which was believed to be located in a heavily fortified command center on a remote planet. The operation required precise coordination and the full mobilization of the Alliance's resources. Admiral Serin's strategic brilliance was evident as he devised a multi-pronged assault strategy. The operation involved simultaneous attacks from multiple directions, with each Allied force assigned specific objectives. The Terran fleet would provide orbital bombardment and suppression, while ground forces, including Kakuvik and Twi'lek troops, would conduct the main assault. As the Alliance forces prepared for the operation, a sense of anticipation and determination filled the air. The recent victories had boosted morale, but there was also an underlying tension. The stakes were high, and the outcome of the offensive would determine the future of the galaxy. The assault began with a coordinated strike that overwhelmed the Grail defenses. The Phantom disruptors proved invaluable, allowing the Alliance forces to see through the Grail's decoys and target their true positions. The battle was intense, with fierce combat and heavy casualties on both sides. Despite the challenges, the Alliance's unity and preparation proved to be a decisive advantage. The ground forces made significant progress, breaching the outer defenses of the Grail Command Center. As they pressed forward, the Grail's leadership was forced to make a desperate stand. In the final confrontation, the Alliance forces faced a fierce and determined defense from the Grail leadership. The battle was brutal, with both sides fighting with everything they had. The Kakuvik's artistry and precision, the Twi'lek's technological expertise, and the Terran's sheer resolve all played crucial roles in the fight. The turning point came when Colonel Hayes and Admiral Serin led a daring assault on the Grail Command Center. Their bravery and leadership inspired the Alliance forces, and they pushed through the remaining defenses. The Grail leadership was captured or neutralized, and the command center fell into Alliance hands. The victory was hard-won, but it marked the end of the Grail's reign of terror. The Alliance's success was celebrated as a monumental achievement, a testament to their unity, resilience, and determination. The galaxy began to rebuild, and the scars of war gradually healed. Ofo, reflecting on the journey, felt a profound sense of accomplishment and hope. The Alliance had faced incredible challenges and emerged victorious, forging a lasting bond among the member races. The fight had been arduous, but it had also brought them closer together, creating a foundation for a more peaceful and cooperative future. As the Alliance celebrated their victory and looked towards the future, they knew that their unity and strength had been the keys to their success. The dawn of unity had arrived, and with it a new chapter in the galaxy's history. The Alliance stood ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead, united by their shared purpose and commitment to a better future for all.